It's Christine Hart-Savage here. This live recording is with a client who suffers terribly with chronic anxiety. The recording's been edited down from 1 hour to about 8.5 minutes. There are a lot of great tips in this short audio. So if you're suffering from anxiety, overwhelm, fear, anything that makes you uncomfortable, if there's any distress or discomfort, you may find this very helpful. When we're used to having anxiety, a lot of anxiety, and we have it sort of every day, it's like a river that's running through your life and it's constantly there. But some days it's like a flood. Yeah? Is that how you experience it? And then that flood subsides, but the river's still flowing. Yeah, so it never really goes away, does it? No. And there's always self-doubt attached to that as well. So if we look at it as a frequency, anxiety has a fear feeling, a fear thinking, a fear contraction to it, and a frequency that it's all held in that same level, that band of frequency, like a radio station. It's the anxiety radio station frequency. Okay, and along with that goes the really tight, short breathing or holding breath, and the contraction of the body pushing in on you so tightly, like you said, the breath is stuck in the chest and you can't breathe. It's like you're trying, but it's like rock in your chest, yeah? And we're trying to do that, and the thinking is really, because we're feeling like that, the thinking is quite negative as well. But what happens when you start to learn to breathe and you become more skilled at it, and you start to be able to at least hold a center inside yourself, and then eventually you'll feel the energy expanding, your breath expanding through you, you'll feel that you're starting to relax. It's almost like this freedom is starting to creep in between the cells of the body, space. And then in the mind too, it feels less contracted, and those really strong negative thoughts start to free themselves up quite a bit. But as soon as you lose conscious awareness of deepening your breathing into the belly and really working with yourself, as soon as you let go of that, you'll find that everything starts to contract in on you again, because there's a formed habit, an unconscious habit. So as soon as you loosen up that diaphragm in your chest and you start to breathe more easily and feel better, if you don't keep doing it and practicing it daily and often during the day, just bringing awareness to your breathing, that old habitual contraction takes you over again. It's like, oh, you can feel it. You know, I used to do this all the time. I'd consciously relax my body, consciously really working with my breath and my mind. And as soon as I forgot about it, it's like, oh, it would just contract in again. Is that what you're experiencing? Yeah. So we have to really work at it. When we've got quite chronic anxiety like this, we do have to do those practices and practice it every single day, which can feel a bit like a pain in the neck. However, there's great freedom within that. And the more skilled you become, the easier it will be to rebalance yourself. And then you'll feel more confident when you go out into life and you're doing things. It's like, no matter what, I know that I can return myself to balance. No matter what is going on outside in the external world, I can drive my own internal car. You know, it's your anchor. You're in control of what's going on inside you, regardless of what's going on outside. I don't know a better way to work with anxiety than breathing. I mean, you do have to work with the mind. Like when we're experiencing anxiety to the point of panic, what will happen is you become so tight that your body is almost like tar. It's just like a rock, and it doesn't move. So what we need to do is to move the body as well, if possible. Okay, so running for you is excellent. You want to really move. Any sort of yoga is very good for you as well, but connect your breath with the movement. What happens with anxiety is it's an unconscious body habit that happens with holding the breath. And we want to bring conscious awareness to what we're doing. So when I asked you before, you know, what happens with your breathing when you have anxiety, what happens with your thinking, And what do you do with your action? What do you actually physically do when you are having a panic attack or have severe anxiety? You couldn't answer me. That's because we lose conscious awareness of what's going on. So what I really want you to do is to be really mindful of what is going on. When you start to feel that anxiety, even at the most subtle level, the first thing you do is breathe. Yep. And then you talk to yourself like you would a best friend. You're going to be okay. You are always okay. You must do that too. And then the next thing to do is to work with your body. The more you practice your breathing, particularly, like I've taught you, right through completely. Okay, the other thing that challenges that we're going to do. When we put things off, we tend to think about them a lot and then we feel anxious. So the way around that is to step into the action of that thing and actually do it. It's better if you actually, this challenge that we're setting, that you do it as soon as possible. That's the first we actually get to know ourselves, and we do that by witnessing ourselves. What do I do? What happens inside me? Get to know it. Because you can't have a panic attack unless you're doing particular things. It's important to know that we do have a gap there to fill. So when you're feeling really tight, anxious, fearful, and you'll have certain behaviours with that as well. And then you'll have times where you feel good and life suddenly looks like, sunshine and roses. So what is that from one degree to the other? Like, who am I when I'm the person that's contracted and tight and small? And who am I when I'm the bigger person and I'm happy? Look, what do I do inside myself? Know thyself. And what is the gap that's there that I need to close? You have a great commitment to yourself and you're very focused. So if you add this in, it's going to change your life. And that will come through practices. And it's going to take some effort. I'm not going to tell you any lies there, because you're so, your body is so used to that habit of closing down, contracting in, because it doesn't feel safe. There is nobody with anxiety feels safe in the world, so our body doesn't feel safe. The mind's on alert all the time and it won't let go. It's because, oh my God, I have to be ready just in case. In case of what, we don't know, but we've got to be ready. What if? So the mind's on hyper alert. So therefore the body, it can't relax and surrender because it's also on hyper alert. It's tense. So you will tend to go back to this habitual contraction. It's a very strong habit, and I had to do this too. So you have to work with yourself really strongly